us, we have Mrs. Talisa Young, Mr. Fred Sparks, Dr. Joe Shoemake, and myself, Yvonne Cox. Mr. Spears is out of town at this time. He's not able to attend today. Now we have the invocation led by Mrs. Talisa Young.
Good morning. Right here, please. Lord, Heavenly Father, we come before you this morning. We thank you for your grace, your mercy, and your loving kindness towards us each and every day. We ask that our decisions are guided by you today, Lord God, for planning, our understanding, and knowledge in wisdom, Lord God. We pray for this district, the student body, the teachers, the administrators, the staff, and anyone that has a hand to play in the growth of our students. We thank you, and all these blessings we ask in your son Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you. Will you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Thank you very much. Before we move forward, I'd just like to play special acknowledgement to our principals. This is National Principals Month, and we do show our appreciation. And I wrote something out here I'll just read, and I know that they may not be here, but for them to know. May your visionary leadership and your tireless pursuit of success for each student guide and support you throughout the school year. As you are faced with all the challenges from student achievement, student behavior modification situations, student attendance, and the test brought on to us through COVID-19, please know that you are encouraged and that the board supports you. National Principals Month is our way of honoring your dedication and thanking you for all you've done. May the wisdom of God continue to guide you through this school year. Thank you. And with that, we'll move straight to requesting a motion to approve our adoption, number 3, adoption of our agenda, policy BBB, policy BCBD.
So moved.
The motion has been made by Mrs. Young, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparks. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Thank you. Now moving to item 4, requesting a motion for a closed determination for executive session. The motion is made by Mr. Sparks. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor? It is unanimous. At this time, we are in closed determination to discuss whether we're entering into executive session. I'll be out in a moment to give you the rural districts, I feel that that. Okay, you already rolled again? Okay. Number 10, legislation that would fully fund the public education funding formula. Ms. Stark,
Support.
Dr. Schumate, support. Ms. Young, support. Cox, support. 4. Number 11, legislation that will create a structured statewide approach to quality early childhood education. Ms. Sparks,
Support.
Dr. Schumate, support. Ms. Young, support. Cox, support. 4. Wait a minute. Number 12, legislation that would eliminate the requirements of passing an end of course test to graduate. Mr. Sparks,
No opinion.
Dr. Schumate, opposed? All right, no opinion one. Ms. Young? Support. Cox, support. So we have a support 2, opposed 1, no opinion 1. Ms. Young, would you like to elaborate on your decision? So as we start. Okay, Ms. Dr. Schumate?
With my no opinion.
Yes, sir.
I don't know, I guess because I'm not an educator. I guess that would be a question I could pose to the superintendent.
So, I think as we start to recalibrate the current accountability system, I think it's going to be important for us to look that all of us graduated from high school and we didn't have more assessments to take in order to graduate. It did not determine if we would live in poverty the rest of our lives, right? We currently have 87 teachers that have 3 or less years experience. That impacts student achievement, student outcomes. We also have a teacher shortage in the state. And so with that being said, I think it's more indicative that a course is taught and the child is measured against the instruction that's given and an assessment more than them having high stakes testing. High stakes testing has increased the achievement gap than not improved it. So I as an educator would fully support them having an end of year course exam in lieu of some of the housing. I'm a firm believer in accountability, let me say that. I do believe we have to be accountable, but our measuring sticks have just grown gross and negligent in how it impacts communities. I have people that say, I believe in you, Dr. Lott, until the D is gone, it's not going. So I'm not going to help the district or poverty or the issue related to how it impacts my community until that's how it's almost like until you get to the middle class, you can't, you know, it's a demonstrative type of I would say, economic development that has been a double fault and sinister to the field of education, and it is the reason why we have a shortage now in public education across the country.
I agree with you totally. So right now we have support 2, opposed 1, and the opinion, no opinion, I'm sorry.
Well, we're listening to the explanation from Dr. Lott.
Yes, sir.
I would be willing to switch to the support, the legislation that would eliminate the requirement of passing in the course.
I thought you just said,
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I misunderstood Dr. Labat then.
Dr. Labat?
I thought Dr. Labat was in favor of end of course test.
No. Dr. Labat, did you say that?
This, I think they, to me, I think they're saying it would end it in something different. It may not be enough information, but I'm thinking they're talking about the subject.
That's what I made note too.
Yes.
It's the algebra 1, the
Yeah.
English 2, the
Yeah.
biology,
Yeah.
you know, it's biology 1, right?
Yeah, so
And
it's
I
supporting.
don't know about U.S. history, it's not in there
It's
anymore.
supporting getting rid of some of it, and I don't believe all of it, I just think we just have to work with it. This is so black and white that it's so difficult to
Yeah.
say. So
So
whatever,
you go.
and I may be wrong in how I'm
Yeah, no,
approaching it.
okay.
Like I said, it may not be enough information, but that's the way I'm looking at it. But they're looking at the 4 tests and looking at eliminating those tests, maybe coming up with another metric.
And then,
Okay,
you know,
well,
even,
it's changed, so.
go on with it. What you doing?
No,
Dr. Schumate?
it's okay. We've got 3 to 1, so we've got the decision.
Yeah, I was,
I mean,
I think
okay,
we're
I'll keep,
working right there.
yes, I'll tell you after.
Let's keep moving.
Think I'll- yeah.
Okay, then, so right now we have three.
Nothing ever happened.
Yeah.
And this is a kabuki
And then
exercise.
they also use this as a, graduation rate measure and so many things that counts against districts, you know, and some children are good test takers and some aren't. Doesn't mean that they haven't attained the knowledge, know what to do. Number 13, legislation that would increase qualifications for individuals running for the local school board.
Oppose.
Okay, oppose,
Support.
support. Support. So right now we have 3-1. Ms. Sparks, you want to elaborate on your proposal real quick and let it stand?
I can elaborate. With the increase of qualifications for individuals that are running for the local school board, depending on what the qualification may be, you may be overlooking a particular sector of the community. You know, there may be those people out there that for whatever extenuating circumstances weren't able to get a high school diploma. That doesn't make, that doesn't mean that they can't,
Be on the
be a
board.
member or serve on the board and things of that nature.
Because,
So when you go and start to put stipulations on it, it kind of serves as a fumbling, so to speak. Well, you start to get less of the general population because we're the service liaisons, serving the school district. So that being the case, we should be able to reflect, every sector of our community. If everybody needs a voice.
I agree with what you're saying. The reason why I said support it is not for you to have a degree.
Right.
Because the degree doesn't speak like that to me. But, I'll say the involvement in the community, parents, someone who's actively, working and interested, that's buying into the community as well as the district. That to me, it's ways that it can be worded. I started looking up little examples of this when I was filling it out. I think we've had this a little minute. But that's how I was looking at it. But you have a good point, that a lot of times when we speak of increased qualifications, the first thing that's thrown in is that you have to have a particular degree.
Right.
Yeah.
So you look at that, and then who's to say if we start asking for more qualifications, it may get to your income bracket. You don't know. I mean, to me, I look at it as opening Pandora's box, so to speak.
Yes, I don't think, are there any qualifications now?
Remember when I did my application,
I
it
think
was sort of
there-
generic.
I think they're looking at Louisiana. Louisiana has done some strict things with board, and it has improved their student achievement. And I think some of the things on here is probably are following Louisiana, some of the laws of Louisiana about expectation and guidelines and things of that nature.
They do, we do. Mississippi follows Louisiana a lot. It'd be beneficial for us to look at some other states also. In a lot of cases, when it comes to, the school boards and school board responsibilities, because all of that should be attached in there when a person applies or whatever is interested in being on the school board. Take into consideration your responsibilities that you will have, the requirements of keeping yourself up to date on the educational matters as they change. It's a lot that goes on in the term of these 5 years. You all may not feel that way, but to me, I guess I'm a reader. All of us are.
Yeah.
We read this stuff and it's pretty plentiful. So right now we have a vote for 3-1. Moving on to number 14, legislation that would allow for a salary supplement for experienced teachers willing to relocate to F-rated school districts.
Support.
Support 4.
I just want a little recommendation.
Yes, ma'am.
If you had some notes about how safety in that district, that are nurses, sometimes it makes people think until that happens. Like I said, we have 87 teachers with less than 3 years experience out of our teachers. And, this is very forward-thinking, information, based on research, and I'm glad that they're doing it, but I think we need to include these.
Thank you for making that point, because if you're a D, you could drop to that F.
Right.
Thank you. We'll make note of that. Number 15, legislation that would allow public funds to be diverted from public schools to non-public schools, home schools, or virtual schools by means of vouchers, tuition tax credits, or scholarships. Ms. Sparks?
Oppose.
Dr. Schumate?
Opposed, really opposed. Opposed.
Opposed, Cox. 4. Moving to number 16, legislation that would allow public charter schools in districts with successful accountability ratings of A, B, and or C. Mr. Sparks?
Oppose.
Dr. Schumate?
Opposed. Opposed.
Opposed, Cox. 4. Number 17, legislation that would provide incentives to people majoring in education and or people seeking an alternative route license. Ms. Sparks?
Support.
Dr. Schumate?
Support.
Ms. Young?
Support.
Cox? Support. Number 18, what are the board's top 1 or 2 legislative concerns? Okay, we'll start with, Mr. Sparks.
For this one, I have student achievement and teacher retention.
Tell me the number, please, sir.
Oh, number 8, what are your board's top 1 or 2? Number 1 is student achievement, and number 2 being the teacher's retention.
Number 8.
He's not going back.
18 is discussion.
We usually go to the number.
Yeah, we refer to the number and then you make a comment from it. So that's number 8, what you said?
No.
No. What's top 1 or 2 legislative concern? Okay, on the list itself.
On the list itself.
Okay, on the list itself.
Would you repeat what you first said, though?
I was speaking on student achievement and teacher's retention.
Okay.
So that teacher retention would probably go down to the
It's in
question
there.
about the alternate license.
Mm-hmm. That's teacher retention.
Right. And then the student achievement would be the one concerning the testing.
What number is that about your license, real quick? Okay.
17.
17. Yes, it was 17.
Okay, that's number 17.
Yes, yeah.
So yours is number 17
Mhm.
and number
And about the tests,
student achievement?
12.
Yes, 12.
Mhm.
Absolutely. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Schumate?
Well, to be boring. Number 10, which is MAEP full funding.
10, okay. That's it? Okay, Mrs. Young? Say that one more time. 5, 11, 15, and 16.
Yeah, they're kind of 16 and 15 kind of go hand in hand, but.
Okay. Mr. Kennedy.
Okay,
Wait, you put
early
it into this.
education. It's very important.
Ms. Young, can you see that?
Oh, I apologize. I'm so sorry. I guess I'll go with
Say
number,
5, 11, 15, and 16.
but we have to break that down to 2. So I will go with, number 15 and 11.
15 and 11?
Or 11,
15 and 11. Okay, being major concern. My major concerns were 11 and 12. Number 11, about early childhood education. I really want this to be fully funded throughout the state of Mississippi and to have early childhood programs in every elementary school. And number 12 would be subject area test. To me has caused a lot of school districts to not, I think, be recognized for the successes that they are having within because of, the formulas that they're using for these tests, end of the year tests. You really should look at the end of the grade, what the children are doing as they're making, you know, the grades through that, through the course, and let that be their final grade. That's, subject area. But I think there's a lot of, conversation that's forthcoming on it. So hopefully there'll be some decisions made. So when we're looking at what we have, I look at, number 11, I see number 12 is, I said 12 and Mr. Sparks said 12.
That's fine.
Okay, Dr. Shoemake said 10.
I don't care. Just do 12 and 11. Because we got 2 votes each for those.
12 and 11?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so we'll stand with, number 11 and number 12. Excuse me, moving on to number 19. What are your board's top priorities for the upcoming legislative sessions? Did you all write down anything you want me to read what I wrote?
I think I got the same answer I did the last 3 or 4 years, and that was number 10, fully funded.
Fully funded. What I said was, well, I'm still stuck on early childhood. What I said was number 11. I think their top priority, I just looked at one, assure that, early childhood education programs are established throughout the districts and, have the families as a very important component in there. Do you feel there is too much time spent in testing instead of teaching?
I'd like to defer that to the superintendent. I couldn't answer that as a board member.
Same here. That's what we do every year.
Yeah,
We defer
every
to
year
the
we do
superintendent.
this.
They never listen to what we say.
Right, just a short explanation that, I think when we start talking about authentic teaching and authentic assessment, I think we've gotten way of the hopes of, No Child Left Behind and, A Nation at Risk. I really feel that you can't determine if a child is college and career ready from a multiple choice assessment. I think we have to get back to, our college and career standards, which is important for them to have efficacy in both areas, but truly not saying that the assessment determines their preparation for college career readiness, but what they've done during their high school, their tenure of their high school. And so, I will say that the test has, taken over, and I think it's the reason for our teacher shortages throughout the country. And I think that there's other metrics that we can use that would suffice. All of you didn't have 4 assessments before you left for high school, and, there's a lot of part of this engine that kids, especially kids that come from poverty, that are not winning the assessment game. When you have 87 teachers, which is us, that have less than 3 years.
And what she said. Yeah, I put down a few notes on what she said. You have something?
Because, I mean, they just want a yes or no.
Okay. Yes, number 21, what are some of the current major issues in your district? So in our district, current major issues.
You want me to answer?
I'm gonna go back and ask Dr. Labat. Dr. Labat, for number 20, that last part you were saying, part, mostly all of it, what you elaborated on about college and career readiness, being a determinant of student you know, and assessments and the teacher shortages. Would you sort of, if you think about it, if you have time, do a little quick statement or two so that can be added in with the yes?
Okay.
Because we want them to know why. After the board meeting so we can get it in. Mrs. Wood? Okay. Moving on to item number 3, discussion of the Hunt Campus recovery, review of expenditures and reimbursements, payments for projects.
I think we discussed that at the review meeting and
Yeah, so that's been done already. Moving right along. Board, do you have any questions? I'm sure you've had a chance to look at the document that was attached, the update. Number 5, number 4, discussion and consideration of capital improvement plan. Welcome, Mr. Little.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You all should have a list in front of you of the things we have outstanding right now. Number 1, tell you something that will probably be completed before the next meeting that we have. Number 1, it's about 80% complete, so they should be done before the next meeting. Number 2, that's scheduled for tomorrow to be completed. Number 5, we've been over there this morning, kind of tweaking a little bit on the speakers of the intercom system at the high school to get the sound a little bit better on that, so we're about 98% finished with that. Number 6, I'm just waiting on the invoice for that one right now to close it out. And that's what we have open for right now. We have a few projects that I'm waiting on, bids from different contractors for, their work on that.
Did you say you completed with number 4?
Number 4 is not.
Oh, okay.
Has that one started?
No.
Okay.
He's got to get a lift in there, and the ground was kind of wet. He was coming to do it, and the ground was wet, so we put it off a little bit. Number 3, we had the court redid, completed at the high school, the basketball gym. So we need to wait several weeks before they get a lift on it to get up and work on the speakers and everything in the basketball gym. Just to let the floor cure and we don't want to get on them. So we put him off for just a little bit longer also.
I know there's one thing I noticed at football games, the announcer, you can hear them so clearly. It sounds great. Had me thinking it was someone familiar. The voice was so clear. But indeed, thank you. And I did, I guess, the blenches, thank you. And,
We got a little bit more concrete work on the home side.
Yeah.
It'll be completed over there.
Is this our flooring, is this the, what building they call that, where football players be, is that the building?
What number is that?
Number 4.
No,
About
that's for the
4.
baseball field.
Hmm?
The baseball field, the speakers and everything over at the baseball field is number 4.
Oh, okay, that's the baseball.
Number 3 is for the basketball.
Thank you. Dr. Schuman?
On 7 and 8 with Franklin, have those started yet, or is that still pending?
That is, we're waiting on for the insurance claim for them to start on the roof.
Fine.
Jay Morgan is gonna work with them, and he's redoing the rotten wood and everything around there. So he wants to work a little bit in front of the roofers.
Okay, thank you.
So they're scheduling that together when they're going to do that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for these updates. Ms. Young?
Thank you.
Dr. Schuman, you got anything?
Yeah.
All right.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to number 5, contract renewal updates. Board, have you had an opportunity to read over those? Do you have any questions about the contract renewals? It's pretty clear, and we've got a good picture of exactly who's working in the district. Okay, if no questions, we'll move on to C, goal updates, policy BC. The student attendance report, any questions? Student attendance reports, the enrollment, student safety report, dealing with disciplinary reports, monthly discipline reports at the schools, dropout report, goal 1, teacher attendance report, safety report. Now we're in item 6, superintendent updates and reports. Dr. Labat, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Team, do y'all mind me going through your slides? All right, jump in at any time. All right, we're gonna start off with those. These are the goals of the district. Then next we go to our goal for 21-22, which is accelerate, which we've been working a lot on our instructional practices and what's happening in our classroom as it relates to engagement, rigorous teaching at grade level, and making sure our assignments are rigorous, along with relationships. So in-depth, very in-depth, in-tune focus there. Social emotional wellness has been another important part of what we're doing. And of course, to continue to innovate. Success, we just went over some things that we've been doing as a district. And those are this list. And if you want me to send you a copy of all everything on this list, just let me know.
Yes, we do.
Okay. In progress, it's all of our things that we've been working on. Our future teacher of Columbus is going well. We're gonna have mentors for our 34 students who want to go into the teaching profession, to create a teacher pipeline to deal with some of the issues that we discussed earlier. We know that's going to be a successful initiative. We have leveraged our ESSA 3 funds to be able to pay the mentors who's mentoring the students. So we're excited about that. Our teacher mentoring, we, through an assessment, we have 87 teachers, which is about half of our teachers that have less than 3 years experience. We have to meet with MD and they've given us some things, but we kind of innovated the process by just ensuring that we're meeting the needs of our teachers right now during the pandemic. And they've given us a lot of great feedback. Biggest thing is with teachers with less than 3 years experience, they told us that they usually make a decision on whether they come back in November. And so we're making sure that we start to really do some reflective processes in ensuring that they stay. Why is it indicative of the bigger picture is because mostly when people leave teaching profession, they leave altogether within the first 3 years. And so I think our revolving door has a lot to do with our teacher experience, mentoring program, and supporting teachers early on. And so an effective means to be able to use our ESSA dollars to support a program. We are in the infancy of this program. We have a very good and strong plan, but we also plan to recalibrate at the end of next year to see how we can do it better and differently. And hopefully we'll be past the pandemic so we can do some more intensive things. Also wanted to mention our national board certification. We do have a goal of trying to get 100 teachers national board certified in the next 3 years through leveraging our ESSA 3 funds. This is how we're innovating in what we're doing every day to ensure that we improve teacher quality. So teacher quality, teacher pipeline, and teacher mentoring programs are important. It's been a lot of great work. I want to thank the team that worked with us, Sarah Smith, Ms. Murray, the team at MD that's worked with us to establish this plan. I also want to thank the World Teaching at Mississippi State and the National Board Certification National Headquarters who have worked with us so that we're able to innovate and provide our teachers with the ability to be reflective of their instruction and going through the national board process. We will provide intensive professional development for these teachers that go through the process, but there's a study that we'll give out once we do the press release. It talks about the Huntsville School District, who really worked towards National Board Certification. The community paid into the National Board Certification Program, and it really changed the outcome of their community. I know that you talked about a community input, I've seen more community support here than I ever have, the essay contests and other things, and people coming out the woodwork. It's tough and take time when we've to perform for 13 years. And that's the reason why the stigma of the D is so detrimental to communities, especially like ours, because there's so many things that are going right and well. So we perpetuate it if we say the negative, right? But the positive is so many great things going on. Actually, that's one of our indicators for our instructional practices for community accountability, is that we focus on the strengths. And I think that's why we're in a League of Innovative Schools. All right, acceleration and achievement. These are just some of the areas, and I will send you this PowerPoint. Next, where am I clicking?
Got it.
Instructional focus. These are all things we're working with. The great thing about community accountability is it talks about the standard practices within the building, plus and minus, and where you're getting there, and it really gets down to instructional focus, right? Are students engaged in learning? Are assignments at grade level? Are they engaging? Is your instructional work focused on the standards? Are students exploring exploratory learning, right? In really in-depth ways, right? And then so the question that we ask them, to what degree is this happening? It can't just happen in beta flow, because beta flow is not where the instruction is. There's also been a focus on all-day remediation. And what I mean by that, if you're giving them standards for low grade level all day, then you put them in interventions that are remedial, and you put them in after school when it's below grade level. You remediate them all day from 8 to 6, right? And so we really have to focus on the rigor, right? Instructional practice, and make sure it's at grade level, so students are getting the rigor and the grade level instruction that they deserve. And we have to believe that in our students' strengths that they can do it. We've also talked about brain development and how important it is for them to be independent learners and not dependent learners, right? So the part of that focus is making sure they have exploratory learning, that they have the arts, right? That we make sure that we're incorporating science in the early grades, right? Social studies and interactive activities that develop the brain. Because the more we remediate and the more we say what they're not, then they won't be. Any questions about that? All right, these are our MAP scores, our proficiency rates. I don't have last year's scores, but I think we were right at 20% in reading last year and 15% at math. I was very happy with how many kids we attained at the 3 level, the 3 achievement level, which means they stayed right at the average level. I want to commend my team and all the principals for their hard work during such a difficult time. For the kids to go to school a third of the year, which is really where they went, 90 plus a week at the winter break when we had the week off. And if they didn't get quarantined, they probably went to school 60 days in person, maybe 60 to 65 days last year. And so I think that's a tribute to the instruction in the classroom, the heart in the classroom, and our continued diligence to accelerate and move forward academically. We have a lot of good things. We have a lot of good resources in place now. I think we have some leadership now that really, really focus on instructional practices and coaching and giving great feedback to teachers, so we can elevate the instructional practices and make sure that they're rigorous. And teachers want to have exploratory learning, and they want creative avenues to be able to teach. Well, that's the reason why they got into profession. We just have to perpetuate that through the leadership at the building level and expect more from our students, and they will perform. Any questions?
Real quick.
Oh, I'm gonna send it to you. You'll have it.
Oh, I just want a little quick.
Okay, all right. This is our enrollment data, a little down from last month. We were a little ahead. But last year, October, 3,316. This year, in October, 3,239. This is the month that we start to get everything calculated for MAEP and other measures and metrics fiscally and other. So this is where our enrollment is now. I thought that we were transient on the Gulf Coast. We are a very transient district. We have people in and out all the time. This is the month that we count, but it's been very in and out. And I think the pandemic has not helped the situation. But this is our current enrollment for October to October. Any questions about that? As the COVID data ended 10/1, 6 positive students, 3 positive staff, 41 students quarantined, 4 quarantine staff. So even this year, you think about 180 days required of instruction for accreditation. We still have students that have been quarantined and may have been quarantined for up to 10 days, which is relatively 2 weeks. So I try to think more positive about unfinished learning instead of learning loss, but them even being gone 2 weeks is a lot. Thank God that we have devices and we have other ways of getting instruction to them. Our teachers have done a good job of whether they're positive or not for continuing instruction. So we want to commend them for their efforts for continuing to give students what they need, whether they're quarantined or not. We are in the process of buying our cameras. So we'll have a camera in every classroom. We want to be the blended learning district and make sure that we are able to upload videos and we're going to get better and better instruction. So we continue to be pursuing a world-class institution in Columbus Municipal School District. Let's see.
Excuse me.
Yes.
When you say you're ordering cameras, is this for, I'll say specific teachers or for all teachers?
All teachers. We did round 1 last year, so we're doing round 2 this year with the ESSA3 funds. Yeah. All right. So this is not just for quarantine students. This is for us that be able to create an environment that a child does not get what they need in a class, that video is uploaded to Teams and they're able to go back and see what a student what was reviewed during that course or what was taught during that particular time. So just a way of us innovating, making sure that kids we never have excuse of a child if they miss a class, that it's there. Right, and then now giving the confidence to our teachers to say it's okay, film yourself, upload it, and continue to improve instruction. Okay, parent outreach. We have some meetings coming up. The Columbus Air Force Base continues to be great partners. These are some things that we're doing. We are getting ready to do a second segment with Triple Eyes with some other people within the communities to try to problem solve some of the poverty issues. You know, I think that's the hardest part with the D-stigma. Because the D stigma is indicative of the poverty issue. So if the community doesn't support the district because of the D, it's almost like they're not supporting the issues because the children are in poverty. And that is, that's difficult. That's very difficult. If I just said I'm not going to help the poor just because they're poor, you know, I'm not going to help the district because it's a D. I mean, that's a huge statement. And I guess I have no right to put the moral compass on that. But when you don't support because of the D, it says a lot.
Okay.
So we'll have President Miller here. She'll talk about college at home. I know Mr. Sparks is the Mr. College at Home. Who else is a W graduate? We have a state graduate right here, but we like to talk about our home college here. And so many of our students have worked part-time and have received a 4-year degree right here at home. We are strongly pushing our dual enrollment program. We're innovating, doing some more intense program with the Management Information System program at NUW, looking at some more of their programs, looking at the academic side. We know as first-generation college students that if they have the dual enrollment credit before they leave high school, it makes a huge difference in them finishing the 4-year degree. We're going to bring exemplary students at the W, and we're going to have a long conversation with her at a parent meeting. Coming up when? Okay, yeah, so it'll be another parent rating, and so we're excited about that, but we really want to support the college in our backyard. It's very, very, very rare that you have a P-12 institution and a 4-year institution in the same city. We have to take advantage of all the educational resources that they have. We have looked under the hood in our junior and senior level courses. We'll be looking at the requirements for freshman and sophomore courses at the W and really recalibrating our curriculum. Because after the assessment, sometimes the junior and senior year, the programming as far as the writing and math, because there's not any assessment, sometimes you don't want to look under the hood. We're going to look under the hood and make sure that we are doing the core curricular rigor that's necessary for them to be college prepared and really an in-depth focus. So we're really thankful to President Miller and her team for continuing to work on us as we continue to improve the student achievement of the Columbus Municipal School District. Oh, and I could not forget that Friday is tailgating. So you all are invited to come. We've made this employee and community appreciation. We're going to thank all the people that have been loyal to us, D or no D. And I say that very passionately, that have stood by our side. I think the Air Force is so supportive because they get it, right? They go into third world countries, so how can they come to America and put a stipulation on a child here and say, until the D is up, then we're not gonna do this or that. So they get it, they're very supportive, we appreciate them, we continue to work towards improving student achievement. So please come Friday. Am I pressing? You have me? Okay. All right, we can move that. Those are updates to benchmark. We're doing road shows, reconstruction program, benchmark assessments, continue to improve everything that's instructional practice. This is our federal program update. You should have the numbers in your form about the balances. We are working on the RFP to look at architects to help us with these projects. This is an extensive amount of money. We're working hard to make sure that it's spent well and wisely. Transportation update. Oh, I hate getting on this slide, but I'll go ahead and do it. We have 19 full bus drivers, 8 sub drivers, and when we say we have transportation problem, the country has it. Okay, so I hate that we so hard on ourselves about things we're doing, because actually they're doing a phenomenal job of what we have. Everybody within that income range of $11 to $16 an hour is going to be problematic. And I think from a budgetary standpoint, we have to think about the raises we just got with the inflation. We're gonna have to give them again. You pull up the KFC, the kids are making between $11 and $14 an hour. We're paying $15. You have to think about that. And in the next couple of years, what we have to do as a district to provide the income level that we need to be competitive in the jobs that we have for the community. Is everybody with me? Yeah, so it's going to change. We just got to 15, but if kids are making between 11 and 15, we're going to have to do a better job of being more competitive. So those salaries are going to increase. So we need to expect that. That's just part of inflation. Inflation is happening, but nobody's talking about it, but it's happening. So this is the current bus situation. This is way out of my lane. So I think Mr. Henfield has worked diligently to make sure we get our people out of the building and working towards getting them their space and getting everything caught up. Do you want to make a comment? Because this is not my slide. Dito, Dr. Dito.
I will make a comment. You do have some personnel approved on your agenda today to add to that bus driver. So we probably, from the updated list that I got from the conference, we're looking at about 25 full-time bus drivers. Now, with part-time drivers, I'm gonna tell you, it's actually about 26 because we include the coaches. And we did train some of our coaches to get CDL license. So they did get their license. So that brings our number up from that 26 to about 18 of them that's in the district. And then 7 of them that are just regular sub drivers that come in. Now, we do have some that work in the morning only, and some that work in the afternoons only. So those bus drivers that we've done, we've kind of, piggyback and tag team those bus drivers covered in. Other thing that I would say is we do have 4 buses that are spared, and that was some of the buses that we've been working with that's over at the station. We're still working with Waters to try to get some of those buses up and running to just see what the conditions of them are. And as we go, there's parts that they have in order, and moving forward with those. So we're working through those buses. However, we still need to be thinking about and considering our new buses, because those buses are old, and for us to have some new buses on the road, we will be doing well.
So we didn't include that as we start thinking about budget for next year, that we will have to purchase these buses. And they're about $80,000 each. It's going to be important for us to stay on the wavelength of buying a specific number of buses per year, because we can't. I think it starts to be the burden of our day-to-day operations when we're trying to repair and fix old buses if we're not able to provide transportation in the way that we need to. So we're going to have to put the money into purchasing the buses and stay aligned with what we are supposed to buy yearly. So we're just gonna have to buy them. So we just don't want to be in a deficit mindset that we're just not going to buy the buses. We're gonna buy the buses.
Have we received the 3 budget buses that was purchased? I can't see it, I'm sorry.
Delivery on those. We're still waiting on delivery on those. Get the AC put in. They are still in the process of finished, but they got the AC put in on those. And then we are looking to order 3 more coming up. And these are gonna be those three that we're trying to get now are actually ready to go. We just need to deliver. So we're gonna put those in. That'll be about 6 buses that we're looking at getting delivered this year. The other thing that I wanted to say is we are moving forward with the plan on the building and trying to, our projection is to try to be in that building by January. So now is the time for us to go ahead and put in our 90-day notice for the lot so that we can start getting ready to vacate that lot and start moving out and making our transition. So we're projecting, once we get people out, going in and doing the repairs or whatever we do, repairs we need to do, and start moving on in and getting transitioned to that building.
And I also would commend them, us taking up a new auxiliary within the district as far as transportation, facilitating, getting the routes, getting the bus route. It's been audacious. It's just been a very, very difficult process. So I want to commend Dr. Dito, his team, everybody that's assisted him in this process. It's been very complex, just taking on a new auxiliary within the school district, facilitating the personnel, getting people to fix it. It's just, it's been less than a year and a half. So we'll get better at what we're doing, but they've done a fine job. And success is a team sport. So thank you again. Okay, technology. What is that? Okay. Oh, we're getting ready to do the website. You go ahead and go over that. And then I think that's. Okay, so that's going to be. Oh, there you go. New website.
This has been the work. So don't.
Yay! That looks great.
This, I mean, we still have a lot of work.
That looks great. Look how clean it is.
All right, can you hear me? Okay, this is still in the works. There's a lot to do on it, but Mary is helping me get pictures on all the websites. Obviously, it's just not one spot.
Yes, that's how it looks. A castle.
But yeah, this is what every school district kind of looks like. I have to mess with the colors still and all of that. But every school will look like this, and then the district will look like this. Just slightly different, enough to know that you're on the district website as opposed to the school. But down here, you have the drop down for all the schools. This is the one that I have Franklin actually in the background, if it will load. I don't have a projected timeline for when this is going to go live because, you know, some of these third and secondary pages, we have a lot of, or secondary and third pages, we have a lot of work to do on them. But that's kind of where we're at right now. I wanted to be able to have actual visual this time.
That looks amazing.
Yeah, it does.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah, easy.
So Mr. Lawton reminds me that he has an average 250 tickets. I will say that we are working through the logistics of having over, I think, 5,000 devices in this district. Technology emergence, you know, people tell me about how many employees we have now. It takes a lot more to educate children now, especially with technology. He told me the average of how many people we should have and how many people we're going to have as far as supporting our technology initiatives and our students have the device. So we'll be working towards making some recommendations to support that area. We're hoping that with our technology support from ND and the League of Innovative Schools, we'll be able to make our teachers more proficient in devices and their ability to use technology. So hopefully we won't have 250 tickets forever, that as the people get better at technology, that we'll have less issues. So it should do well over time. So we're going to bat average, but I think we've made the millennial happy for now with the network management and some of the other things that we're doing in the future. But right now the department is very, very, very overworked with the initiative we have. I don't call about my little petty things that I don't understand because I know how hard they're working, but it is a huge initiative as far as our one-to-one.
Excuse me, about how many employees does he have in taking up right now?
Don't include federal, really. I mean, you can't.
Pardon?
Yeah, well,
Okay, not including federal.
So they're not doing anything?
no, they're doing something, but we should.
You have 4 people plus yourself, 5 people.
5, but if you put in federal, so
Okay.
one starting off, if you could. But
When you
if
say
one
federal
starts-
stuff.
2 of the positions are instructional support, and so they are really supposed to help the
They
teachers
take,
with
all right.
technology. And so they have helped out between both departments from an instructional standpoint, and that's what they're being paid for out of our dollars. But overall, and we're making sure that they're doing exactly what's in that application, which is the instructional support of programming.
So your instructional technologies are, what you're saying is paid out of federal funds.
Right.
But that's an additional 2 people, but actually working out of your department is 4 people plus yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For 5,000 devices.
yeah. That's why I was trying to get a figure with it, because instructional technology, people gonna do it.
And everybody has a device. And if you ask Mr. Locke, everybody has a problem with it, right? Yeah, or some problems, right? Mostly me, I call. All right, so today you'll be looking at the network management contract, which will be a huge support for him to be able to take his hands off some of the things that we do from a network standpoint. They have a new employee starting tomorrow, and he always reminds me that he has 250 tickets constantly. And this may be students, this may be teachers. We try to prioritize our students and getting those done first. A lot of them are teachers, and so they just keep going, trying to get them done. All right. SPED, IEP, Education Benefit Review Update. The project application is done, 504 update. There you go. Together we fly. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions? Mr. Spark? Pages and pages to go. Now, Dr. Okay. Now we're at item 8, open forum, policy BCBD. We have anyone for open forum? Moving right along. Office of the Superintendent, School Operations. Dr. Labat, do you have any travel that you may want to just tell us about quickly?
Yeah. I went to the state competition committee meeting in Jackson since the last meeting, and we are looking at the elementary curriculum, looking at how often we should assess the curriculum competition thinking in the state. We'll be talking to all the superintendents throughout the state for our next meeting, and we'll be again this month, just to discuss finalizing the curriculum, getting it out, and continue to be a body of discussing and collectively how we can be a force of for computational thinking in the state. So it's an honor to serve in that capacity. And now from Jackson.
That's good, hands-on spirit. All right, moving right along, superintendent recommendations, consideration and discussion to approve the staff/personnel items. Board requesting a motion.
So moved.
Motion is made by Mr. Sparks, requesting a second. Second by Mrs. Young. Any discussion? Any discussion? Staff personnel items, if no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on to item 10, the Office of Business Management. We're looking at consideration to approve our financials, board. Before we do that, let's look at, yes, I'm on target. We have several items here. I'm reading faster than I'm looking. The monthly financial reports, I would like for us to approve the fund balance, cash balance, budget status, monthly revenue, monthly expenditure, and certification and summary of reconciled bank statements, requesting a motion to approve these reports. The motion is made by Ms. Young. I'll make the second. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It's unanimous. Moving right along, item D, the ad valorem tax collection analysis report. Board, do you have any questions? Comments? No questions or comments. Moving to item H, CMSD fund balance trends. Fund balance the bank cash balance yearly comparison reports. They're very thorough, I'm sure, when you read them. The athletic event reports. I really like to just a shout out to Mr. Davis. He does very good communications and letting the district, and I'm appreciative that he lets the board know all the exciting things that are happening. And we really do appreciate that. Item K, I'm requesting a motion to approve the budget amendment.
So moved.
Motion is made by Mr. Sparks, second. Second by Dr. Shoemake. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on to I, consideration or discussion to approve fixed assets. Requesting a motion.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks, second. I'll make the second. Any discussion?
Got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Just a quick question at the end about the 4 laptops that were lost. We have 3, these were 2020 laptops, so they're relatively new. 3 of them were lost at Sale and 3 of them were lost at Stokes Beard. Were these student laptops or teacher laptops, or what, I mean, to whom did they belong? I mean, most of the other laptops are much older. These,
Off the top of my head, I only know one employee laptop that's lost right, off the top of my head, I only know one employee laptop that is lost right now. So odds are those are student laptops,
okay.
but I don't remember off the top of my head. I don't have the report in front of me to tell you.
That's all right. I mean, when they're relatively new, I wonder about the designation of lost.
Any items that are reported as lost,
Mhm.
we'll actually charge them the fair market value of what it will take for us to replace it.
Okay, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, let me repeat myself again. Who made the motion? Mr. Sparks, I didn't make a note of it, sorry. And I seconded, discussion was made. All in favor, please raise your right hand. Thank you, it is unanimous. Moving on, requesting a motion to approve our claim docket.
So moved.
Motion is made by Mr. Sparks, second. Requesting a second. Second, Mrs. Young. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. It is unanimous. Moving on to item N, federal programs and IDEA monthly financial reviews. And thank you very much. I did note the ESSA funds are included in that, the explanations. Thank you very much, Ms. Rogers. Board, do you have any questions, concerns? Moving right along to our consent agenda.
So, I would like to make a
Yes,
comment.
ma'am.
I was really hoping to have it here closed before this board meeting. There are 2 issues that I'm waiting to hear back from the State Department on before I can close our year. I have already done a clean fence run, so I know that as soon as I hear back on these 2 entries, that we'll have a good clean report from the state. By law, I have to have everything completed and waterproof, no later than Friday the 15th. So I will have to call the board to have a special meeting to come out to approve our amended FY 21 budget.
Hold on.
Yay for Zoom.
FY 21 budget. And we need to do this when before Friday?
Yes,
Okay, I'll be sure to carry my laptop with me because I'll be out of town the rest of the week. Let me look.
Ms. Scott, we just go ahead and take recess until Thursday. We have to ready to finish the meeting today, we take it that time. Thursday, it's going to last. Right. Yeah, that way you can recess, we might go through the whole process of college special.
You know what? Thank you very much. And I'll make sure I carry these same notes with me. So right now at this point where we are, and since we will be in recess, I'll stop right here at, before I start with the consent agenda, right?
No, I'm sorry, I meant before, because if we get finished with this meeting today, instead of adjourning the meeting, recessing some. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make that.
It's all your fault.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just tell me, you know, I'm gonna write it down and run with it. I was ready to move on.
Yeah, to be honest with you, Ms. Scott, when you get the, consent agenda, you know, number one, or A and B handled, and then B to be handled all together. Big jump.
Yes, sir. And then, we'll go on down, and instead of adjourning, we'll just, reset.
Right.
Instead of adjourning,
Yeah.
we'll reset.
Yes, ma'am.
Do A and B together.
Yeah, I think I had a mark off to take the consent together. Okay. I'm just doing fine. I'm just too difficult. I'm ready to close out right there. The hour was well spent. But, while we're on this, then we won't have to have a special call meeting, but we will, come back, we'll continue on what date is good for the board members.
We're gonna do that at the end of the meeting, Ms. Cox. We're just gonna consider, can start with that.
You wanna do that where?
Consent agenda.
All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Requesting a motion to approve our consent agenda, which would be, the policies, which are 1 through 7, and, the B part, which is agreements, contracts, memorandums of understanding, travel, and field trips. Requesting a motion for approval of the consent agenda. I know it's several items. Have you had an opportunity to read them?
I will so move.
All right, the motion is made by Dr. Shoemake, requesting a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Sparks. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. Okay. Moving right along to item 12. Close determination for executive session.
Ms. Scott,
Yeah,
let
go
me
ahead.
address one item. The consent agenda actually took in everything all the way through
Oh, right.
All the way through, it took in,
B 1 through 8 or 1 through 10.
the consent agenda includes, A, 1 through,
A1,
all right, A, 1 through 7, and B, 1 through 10, and C, you know, it just includes our dates to remember, which is C, 1, 2, and 3. That's where I stopped.
The reason I stopped you, number 9 on that, the contract out of work network management, we actually had 2 proposals, and we need to accept the lowest and best. So we'll let that consent agenda cover everything except number 9.
So why is that there?
Okay, now, I did have that marked off to ask you about that, but when you made the statement to go on and approve consent.
Yeah.
with-
Okay, never mind, Ms. Cox. When they were sent to me for review, I had 2 proposals. So that's okay. No, she had to send them both to me to review. So he had a recommendation. So we're good. We're accepting his recommended. We're fine.
Which is at the top, the first sheet. His recommendations in the first sheet, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Who was it, Mr. Bones?
Yeah,
Network management.
administrator.
Out of Meridian.
MCS,
We're fine.
yeah, MCS.
Okay. Requesting a motion to, moving to consider close determination for executive session.
So moved.
The motion is made by Mr. Sparks. Discussion, all in favor? regular session, there was some action taken, the minutes was approved while we were in executive session. Now I'm requesting a motion to move into recess.
There you go.
Okay. Motion is made by Mr. Sparks.
What day and time? October 14th at what time?
Recess until when?
We can make
Hold
it
on one moment before we just say 14.
Everybody be patient. This is our first time to do this in a while.
Excuse me. Now, let me see what I'm saying. I'm gonna be en route. I'm not gonna be able to do a call-in on the 14th. That's what I was saying, but, Ms. Young could conduct the meeting. Sure is. So Ms. Young will conduct the meeting, that particular meeting on the 14th. I won't be able to attend, either not on the phone or anything. I'll be en route going traveling, so I won't be able to even be on the phone. All right, so what time is good for you all? 3 o'clock, so the recess will be October 14th at 3 o'clock. Got it. All right. The motion was, for recess was made by Mr. Sparks for us to recess until October 14th, 2021 at 3 o'clock. Requesting a second.
Second.
No, you made your
Oh,
motion.
make the motion, I'm sorry.
Second.
No.
I second it. Cox second it. Any discussion? If no discussion, all in favor, please raise your right hand. We're officially in recess. It is.